Hello and welcome back to your mat. I am currently filming from a little suburban park here near Indianapolis, Indiana. So if you hear any road noise, I apologize for that, but got the beautiful fall trees here in the background for you. So today's class is going to be all about grounding. It's a nice grounding class. So most of the poses are going to stay close to the ground, but in this case, it does not necessarily mean easy or lazy poses. We're going to actually have a little challenge built in there too. So we're just going to stay close to the ground to kind of help ground the energy. If there's any frenetic kind of maybe that fall energy that's going on, or you just find yourself like really scattered or busy, this is a great class for that. Plus we'll have a little challenge. So we'll get started with a quote. And this one, it's not attributed to anyone, it's an unknown quote. So we'll go with that. This one is: the best way to weather the storms of life is to stay grounded, like the roots of a tree, firmly planted, yet flexible enough to sway with the wind. So we're gonna start seated. Great way to ground down. I should also point out you might need a block for one of the poses toward the end. So grab that if you have that available. If not, don't worry about it. We're going to start in the most grounding pose of all, seated. So we're seated. Our sit bones are firmly planted into the mat. Imagine them growing roots into the ground underneath of you. And from here, we're just going to do a little side bend here to open up the side body. So I'm just going to stretch my right arm out off to the side. Bring that left arm up overhead. Get a nice stretch here along that left side of the body there. Really reach through. Breathing here, but keep anchored down. So just imagine those roots are pulling you into the ground. We want to stay rooted, stable, strong, yet flexible. Bring ourselves back up. And then the left arm out and right arm up overhead. So a nice open up the right side of the body. So flexible doesn't just mean being flexible in our physical body, but being flexible in life, whatever may come our way, the busyness, the not busyness, whatever it might be. Got to be able to be flexible, yet strong. Bring that back up. And then from here, we're just going to kind of come to a kneeling position. So you can come to all fours if you'd like, or I'm going to go ahead and just start on my knees here. And I'm going to step my right foot forward into a low lunge. So I have my back toes untucked. I find that easier for me. So we're going to come into a low lunge. You can sink into it if you want or stay more upright. I'm going to stay more like kind of in the middle. So I'm not going to really sink deep into it. I'm going to stay a little more upright. And you want to widen out that stance. You have a nice, stable foundation here because we're going to do a twist now. And we're going to be a moving twist. So we're going to simply bring the arms up overhead. And then we're going to twist to the right, opening the arms out to the right. And then we're going to inhale and come back up. So with that movement, you're going to see you need that stable base. Exhale and twist to the right. We're going to do this a few rounds. Inhale, arms back upright. And exhale, twist open to the right. Let's do one more. Inhale, bring the arms back up. Exhale, twist to the right. Stay there for an extra breath or two. Feeling that expansion, feeling yourself open up here. And then exhale and just bring yourself back to like the opposite here and just turn over to the left for just a moment. Just a loose twist here. And then from there, we're going to come into a low skater. So we're going to keep this right leg deeply bent. But now we're going to do, and my heel's going to pop up off the ground. That's how my heel works in this pose. Yours may or may not. And then you're just going to straighten out that left leg on the mat. So I'm in what's called low skater pose here. And you can see my heel is off the ground. Yours might be touching, it may not. I've got my hands on the mat for now for stability. If you want to challenge yourself, you can try to balance or keep your hands down. Nice low skater here. And then going to challenge ourselves just a bit more on this same, before we go to the other side. And we're going to bring ourselves back around. We're going to lower the forearms down to the ground and step that right foot back and come into a forearm plank. So we're going to hold here for just a few seconds, breathing. You can always bring your knees down if you need to. Challenge yourself, but we're low to the ground, but offering that challenge. So we're not going with a lazy grounding practice today. We're going with a challenging grounding practice. Burn through maybe some of that frenetic energy, and then go ahead and release the knees down. We're going to come back into a child's pose before we go to the other side. So release everything down into child's. Another wonderful grounding pose. Come on up, and we're going to go to the other side. So I'm gonna turn around so that it works better, so I'm continuing to face the camera. You can stay the same way. From your kneeling position, go ahead and step that left foot forward into your lunge here. And then again, find where you want to be, but I suggest not sinking too forward here, too deep. Somewhere maybe in the middle or even more upright. But make sure you have a wide enough base here. So don't have your feet like your front foot and your back knee right in line. You want to have a little bit of space there. Inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, twist to the left. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, twist to the left. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, twist to the left. We're going to do one more. Inhale, rise your arms up overhead. And exhale, twist to the left and stay for an extra breath there. And then go ahead and release that and just counter twist to the right for a brief moment before we come into skater on the other side. So we're going to keep that left leg deeply bent. Just going to flip the right toes up, facing up, and now my right leg is nice and straight on the other, facing out to the right side. So again, I have my heel off the ground. And if you want to challenge yourself, bring your hands off the ground for a moment or release back down. All right, and then from here, we're going to come into that forearm plank once more. So we are going to do that even though it's symmetrical pose. We're going to do it again just for fun. So then go ahead and turn yourself around, step that left foot back, come into your forearm plank. And we're going to stay here for a few breaths. So you can always drop the knees, but try to stay here for a few breaths, really feeling solid, stable, supported, grounded, yet challenged. And another breath. Exhale, release the knees down, release your hips down, come into Sphinx for just a moment to release all of that work we just did. So my elbows underneath my shoulders, I'm looking out in front of me, really opening that chest and releasing that belly work there, that core work. And now we're gonna stand up. So you thought we were down at the ground. We are gonna have a little brief off of the ground, but we're not gonna be there very long. So keep your block handy because we are gonna come into a yogic squat here in a little bit, and you might find that very helpful. A lot of people do. So we're gonna stand in mountain pose, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn sideways so you can see this. So we're gonna stand in mountain pose, nice and stable here, and then we're gonna sink into chair. So sink back into your chair. This can be a deep chair, a really deep chair, or you can be a more upright. We're again trying to stay low to the ground, but we're sinking back by bending those knees. Go ahead and find yourself wobbling back and forth here a little bit. So kind of rock back onto your heels and maybe onto your toes. Back onto your heels. And if you want to challenge yourself for a moment here, rock forward on your toes and lift the heels. And then sit the heels back down, rock back on the heels, lift the toes. Let's do that one more time, just for fun. You may not find it very fun, but rock forward if you want to do that challenge. Sit the heels down, lift the toes. And then go ahead and stand all the way up and release that. You should really feel that in your quads, your legs. And now we're gonna sink back into chair again, but we're gonna come into our squat pose. So have that block nearby, or even something you can sit into, like maybe an ottoman or a footstool or something, if you find that's necessary. I'm gonna widen out my stance, and I'm gonna turn my toes slightly out. So I'm almost as wide as my mat is. And then I'm gonna sink back into chair. And then find that block if you need it, and come on into your squat pose. Or in yoga, in Sanskrit, it's called malasana. Yogic squat. You can have this block at any height, or you can completely get rid of it. So if you want the challenge and it feels like something you can approach, try to squat back into it without the block. It's going to be obviously more challenging. You can also have your hands out in front of you. You could even use the block instead as a counterbalance to kind of help you so you don't fall over. Stay here for a few breaths. Whatever variation you're in, block or not. And you could also stay in chair. You can just stay in a lower chair if you like. You don't have to come all the way down. And then go ahead and sit all the way back. That pose does get easier over time, and I don't know why, but it's one of my favorite poses, even to this day. So now we're gonna come forward into pigeon pose. So I want you to, if pigeon doesn't work for you, you're gonna come onto your back and come into figure four. So figure four on your back, cross that right leg, your right foot over your left knee and pull in. Okay, so if pigeon doesn't work for you, you're going for figure four. Otherwise, we're gonna do pigeon. So go ahead and stretch that left foot back behind you. Bring that right foot, that right knee is bent. And I have my right foot coming more toward my left hip. You can do more of a 90, but that's gonna be a little bit more challenging, especially if this back leg is out. And if you're nice and flexible, that might work for you. So go ahead and get nice and tall here. Come out of your spine for a moment, and then go ahead and fold forward any amount. You have that block. I'm gonna grab that to show. That's always an option to bring your elbows down on. If you don't want to bring them all the way to the floor, all the way to your mat, you have options here. But instead of completely being passive in this pose, I would like, if you're in pigeon that is, if you're in figure four, you could also do that without holding your legs. You could just bring them in and not hold them with your arms. But in this pigeon, I'd like it to be a little less passive. So I want you to really kind of make this more active. So make sure that back foot is really grounded into the mat. You're forward here. You're not just completely slumping forward. You're really opening up that chest, whether your elbows are on the ground or not. And take another breath there. And then you're gonna just swing that right leg around. If you're in the figure four on your back, you're just gonna switch sides. Otherwise, pigeon people, we're gonna come back and swing that right leg behind us. And now our left leg is deeply bent in front here. Gonna get up nice and tall here and then fold forward any amount. You can come on your forearms if you like, or the block again. If you're on your back in that figure four pose, you're gonna have your left knee is gonna come, or I'm sorry, your left foot is gonna come across your right knee, and you're just gonna reach through and pull both of your legs in. Not both your legs. Pull in your right leg. It's kind of hard to describe a pose that I'm in a different pose. I haven't quite gotten that one down yet. I'm working on it. So again, try not to be dumping into this and just be passive. We do want to have that grounding quality, but I'm also kind of want to make this a bit more active, of an active practice. Because sometimes when we have frenetic energy or that busy mind or that busyness going on, we kind of need to burn through that. We also sometimes just need the really quieting and restful poses, but sometimes this is the best medicine. If you're in figure four, I want you to stay there and hug your knees into your chest. We're gonna join you there in a moment. Pigeon people, let's go ahead and join our figure four people on our backs, hugging our knees in. We're just gonna do a quick supine twist to each side and we'll be done. So go ahead and bring both of your knees over to the right and bring that left arm out to the left, and you can look either straight up above you or out to the left. You have options. Quick little twist here. And I could just stay here forever. I'm looking up at trees with the leaves they're falling down around me. Nice, beautiful blue October sky. It's really, Indianapolis right now, it's like 70 degrees today. It's gorgeous. But fall is coming for this area. Colder weather is on its way. Inhale and come on back up. Twist over to the left. Drop both knees over to the left, right arm out. Hence why we'll be soon making our departure for the south. With all new locations coming soon in coming videos. And then go ahead and bring yourself back up. Hug your knees into your chest. For those that have more time, stretch your legs and arms out long on the mat and come into your Shavasana. For those of you who don't have extra time or you're up against that time limit, you need to get moving and you need to stay within the time constraints of the video itself, then come on up. Otherwise, please take that time, lay back in Shavasana. You still got a few minutes before you're even at the 20-minute mark, so take that time. I thank you so much for joining me for this nice grounding class. I hope that you found the qualities are helpful and something you can take off of the mat with you, as well as the time that you spent on the mat. Thank you so much for taking the time to take care of yourself and for joining me.